The Utah State Aggies, a team that plays out west. They play in the Mountain West Conference. Overall, they're 23-4 as of today, February 25th, 2026. They're overall 23-4. They're 13-3, and they play really hard. And I say that lightly, but that's a kind of a rare thing to play hard defensively. I was looking up some stats before I got on here, and I saw that this is turnover percentage, defensive turnover percentage, and Utah State is right over here. They're 15th in the country turnover percentage, with the percentage of their opponent's possessions that end up in a turnover, about 21%. And even though they're 15th, um, at 21%, the fifth rated team is um, 22%. So they're right there, and that stat is not really to obviously be a comprehensive overlook of the team, but it just gives you an indication of how hard they play. And we're going to get into some film, and we're going to take a look at Utah State. So, in terms of their schedule, they've won most of their games, 23-4. I was at this game against Davidson, and this is the game that we're gonna. This is a game that we're gonna take a look at. Honestly, it's not the best game to take a look at because Davidson has the type of personnel that Utah State could thrive against, and we'll get into that. But then we'll also look at the Nevada game, their most recent game where they lost, and that type of team can give them some problems. So hopefully, we can take a look and maybe see where that takes us. If you're looking at their roster, just real quick, they have a lot of upperclassmen. MJ Collins transferred from Vanderbilt, their best scorer, averaging 18 points a game, shooting more than 50% from the field, 38 from three. Mason Falslev, I think he's a senior or is he a junior? Oh, really impressive. He's a junior, averaging 16, 5.6 and three. Only one turnover a game. Really strong, secure, fast, smart, gritty, tough player who any coach would love to have on a roster. And that's part of their backcourt. They have a big man, Carson Templin, who is a junior, been with the team 3 seasons, does a lot of good things inside and out. They got Colby King, who's transferred from the Big East, played at St. John's and at Butler. I've been following him for a while. Also played at Tulane for a year. And he's kind of like a change of pace point guard, goes really fast. And then they have a couple other guys. They have Gary Clark, who's a good forward. They have Drake Allen, who I really love to watch. He's kind of the quarterback of this team, Drake Allen. And his game is a little bit underappreciated by the box score because he only averages 7, 3, and 5. But when you watch him play defensively, he's really a dog. He gets into it, and good size, 6'5", and their guards have good size to begin with. MJ Collins is 6'4", Falslev is 6'4", Drake Allen is 6'5". Then they have we'll get to Elamine in a moment, but they have Elijah Perriman, who's been a nice freshman, finding his way. He's skilled, getting in there. And then they have Admin Elamine, who is also a freshman, who's now been starting lately, and his progression has been interesting. Very raw, but it's coming together in a way, and definitely at the Mountain West level, he's doing his thing. So we can see earlier in the season, not too many minutes here, 3, 4, 6, 10, 6, and then more recently 25, 18, 14, 19, 30, 35, 34. So Utah State has a good team. They do struggle against teams that are more athletic, and we'll see that in the Nevada game, whereas Davidson isn't very athletic. In the backcourt, Davidson's guards play hard, and they have good size in the front court, but Utah State really did their thing. And if we take a look real quick at the box score of that game, and I was at this game, I'm not sure if I mentioned that or not, in Charleston. Utah State won the first half by 18, the second half by 16, ended up winning the game by 34 points. It was a pretty one-sided performance. And then against their most recent game against Nevada, yes, they beat Nevada earlier in the year by 9 at home, but I think their most recent game is a little bit illustrative of maybe what will give them some trouble. So we're going to first dive into the Davidson game. So at this point, both teams were 5-0. And Utah State really just came out from the jump and established themselves in this game, and it was a really good look at how hard they play. It was on a neutral court. It was the last game of the day after 3 games prior to this, so this is the 4th game of the day. A late start, um, and the amount of focus that they came out with, even in layup lines, to be honest, was very pleasing to see. They didn't just go through the motions; they were running interesting things in the layup lines. All guys engaged. Drills that didn't necessarily end in baskets, but ended in like making the right pass or in getting a deflection or like diving on the floor, like interesting. And you know, who knows how much that correlates to on-court success? That's not the point. The point is that um, you know, you can see their level of engagement, how hard they're playing on film. You know, that is also apparent as well. Offensively, though, they don't run too many sets, at least not that I've seen in a couple games I've seen. I'm not sure if that is on purpose or by design, or they let the guys play by feel. But you know, when they get to close games, it could be a little bit of an issue. But you know, I'm no expert on that either in terms of this team. So we're gonna take a look. So Allen hits a 3. This is Drake Allen coming up. So they just have. So he hits a nice 3. Now look at this defensive pressure. MJ Collins in your grill. And again, the Davidson guards aren't too athletic, but still, you got to give credit where credit is due. The defense is on a string. So pause it right here. You got MJ. I just want to go over the starting 5. MJ Collins, Drake Allen, Mason Falslev, Tucker Anderson's a nice player for them, and Carson Templin. So we didn't cover Anderson before, but we're gonna take a look at him as well. So nice move by Falslev, and he's doing it against you know, not like a horrible athlete of a defender. Pretty good, you know. He's getting into the lane. That's a nice strong move. So MJ Collins was on fire this game. He actually had over 40 points. Um, and when he's playing like that, they're tough out because defensively they're going to dig in consistently. So look at this pressure. They trap on the first pass, recover. They trap the corner there. Turnover. Get back the other way. 2 foul shots. Then again, back to the press on the free throw make. And they're playing the zone, as you can, not a zone, but I'm saying they're not playing really like when they're pressing. It's not like they're attached to a man. They're playing an area, so it allows them to kind of play off instinct, not have to think too much. Davidson's trying to run a set. It's only 10 seconds left on the shot clock, so you're already in a short clock situation, and Utah State has the advantage in that respect. So they get him by the baseline. They trap it. Number 3 is now open, but he doesn't really have a way to get the ball to him. Now he's stuck there, applying good pressure. Get a deflection, get a steal, and now they're out and running. Just in your grill defensively. It's a good effort. What they call there? Offensive foul. Push off. Just making the offense uncomfortable. So if you don't have really good ball handling or good athletes or good speed, it's going to be hard to compete with this team because of how they play. What happened there? So Drake Allen's ball watching, and his man just gets behind him. That's not great. Look at this. Look at when he gets his steal. How the guys are just programmed to get out and go. So Falslev barely has secure possession of the ball. King is already out and running. Allen is already out and running. Templin is already out and running. And that makes a difference. Now they're behind the defense, and of course they had a head start, but they're all running. So look at Templin. Look at where Templin started from, and look at where he is. Templin is right here, 22. Okay, he's relatively in line with the other two bigs on the opposition, but he just runs. So again, MJ Collins, okay, sound defense there. Gets the deflection, gets the steal on the back, tips it out, and now he's out. And Allen quickly passes it ahead. And now they're really digging in. They get a steal in the basket. Look at that. He's here. It's not like he's, it's not like he's attached to his man, but it's just great instincts. Bad pass, good instincts. Easy bucket. Good wide base by Falslev. Look at Drake Allen getting that deflection. Fronts his man. Just an effort play right there. Collins is ahead, finishes. You also gotta like that when they get a steal and they push it ahead, they just pass the ball. It's not like too many dribbles. Great recognition. Look at this. Colby King is here, right? This guy's driving here. How is Colby King gonna end up with the tie up? Because right there he jumps into the gap. That's just really good coaching and really good instincts and good team defense. On the spin, he's there. Another steal. Falslev, good on-ball defense. Allen with the help, being a pest. And just a great outlet pass. That was nice. I want to see that again. Falslev stays in front of him. He comes from the other side. Thinks he has a passing lane. He doesn't. One dribble, look ahead. One dribble, pass, finish. Too many questionable offensive decisions in this first half by Utah State, to be honest with you, but now they're up 6, only 2 minutes left in the half. This cross-court pass to MJ Collins was just there the whole game. And he kept cashing in on it. Cross-court pass again to MJ Collins. And he hits the 3. Drake Allen gets in and hits the bucket. They're up by 18. So that's kind of the whole performance against Davidson. As you can see, everything I said before is kind of like, I think, pretty obvious, right? In the sense of like the personnel and how hard they play. But now we're going to take a look at a game they played against Nevada. So you can see now, just on the screen, right? Nevada's a lot more, has more size and length than Davidson had in the previous game. So it's a different type of opponent. Drake Allen tries to come off a screen, pull up, no good. So last game, MJ Collins had over 40. This game, he has 9. It's weird. This FS1 logo is on the bottom. It looks like it's part of me, but it's not. So they're good active hands again, and same thing, right? That was November. Now we're in end of February. Colby King, right here, sees something going on here, and he's out. He's out. They're not watching. They're playing off instinct and feel, and that helps. A lot of easy buckets in transition, especially a team like this that might struggle in the half court. So the defense turning into offense is a real thing here. Good move. That's so against Davidson that might work, right? Like we're right there. He's trying to kind of strip the ball, but the Nevada player is able to finish through contact. So is that something that we need to look at, where a big man who just has a little bit more size and a decent level of skill and touch can do that? And is that something that can happen consistently? Something to look into. False love is really crafty. For someone who's not that quick, it's interesting to be crafty if you're not the quickest player. Good strip, good hands. They're playing 5-on-4, and they get a foul. I don't know. Offensively, it just doesn't. Something doesn't. But I guess this is what they do. Ryerson gets to the bucket. One of the few returning players for Nevada. He's actually grown a lot, not physically, but he's stepping into his role nicely this year, getting minutes in crunch time. Where last year he was playing behind, not behind, but Colby Sanders was there, and a couple other guys were there. Not that he's replacing Colby Sanders, of course not, but it's just good to see a guy in this day and age stick with a program for 3 years and then kind of become one of the guys who the team relies on game in and game out, and that's what Rollison is doing here. See, that's the fear, right, that I have for Nevada, is they play a bigger, more athletic team, quicker team, and just like this, I mean, that's at that point, like I don't know what Utah State does if they play a bigger team, because that's automatic. And it's going to be difficult. It's just bully ball in a way, and it's ironic that it's bully ball against Utah State, a team whose DNA is to play aggressive. Yeah, granted, they're on the road, and they beat Nevada earlier in the year. Nice move by Falslove. So you do have to factor that into the equation, but what we're seeing on film, I think, is also something you have to factor into the equation. Problem here is Nevada got into the bonus with 8 minutes left in the second half, maybe even earlier. So that 6-point lead is actually not that much, and that 8-point lead, as we can see, wasn't that much. And this is where the offensive stagnation kind of set in. It's a good look, but Drake Allen doesn't hit it. Templin, man. Templin is a really good player for this team. I really, it's nice to watch him. He's strong, but he can also kind of operate on the perimeter in a weird way, and he can pop, and he can roll, and defensively he's kind of a dog. I like how he plays. Number 22. Sets the screen. There you go. Rolls to the basket. Doesn't finish, but draws a foul. I mean, I like how this kid plays a lot. For this level, for this team, What happened here? So the quickness just gets by them, and then the defense breaks down. Like, that's the problem. It's kind of along the same line of before. They don't really have interior, the length. Forget the size, you know? And the bounce. They may not have that in the way that they could need it in the NCAA tournament, so to speak. What happened here? It's nobody's there. Nobody matched up. Utah State up 3. Colby King, it's a big shot from him. He's been in those spots throughout his career. If you watched him at St. John's and Tulane and Butler, there's coaches like trust Colby King, and it's interesting because stat-wise he doesn't put up the most numbers, but he's apparently trusted to be on the floor in crunch time, so to speak, even if he doesn't start the game. They're just bullying them. Gets in position. Now it's a tie game. Now, I don't mean nice move by Falstaff. I don't mean bully by way of. I mean, I think it's obvious. You know, you don't have to qualify that statement, but it's not bully by way of like effort. It's bully by way of physical stature. And if they play more high major teams, it could be an issue. It's a big shot. So Nevada makes 1 of 2. Utah State has a chance. And the coach actually called timeout before that basket went in. So see a late game execution situation here. Get a good look, but Templin just can't finish. 64% from the season, so he misses the front end of the 1-and-1, and it's just an uphill battle from here because Nevada makes both free throws here. They do have a nice little play here to get King a 3. He misses it, but off the inbound. This is an interesting play, by the way. Let's look at this. Let's look at this action right here. So they come up here, and then he just kind of tags him off there. He sets a decoy screen here, and then you can see 11, I think it's Clark and Falslev, going to set this for King to come around and get an open 3. So you kind of wall off the defense. And interesting, they got Colby King the shot, not MJ Collins, but that happened, and they miss a shot. They get the inbound, and Falslev actually makes a nice 3 here. So it makes it a 1-point game, but it's kind of too little too late. Nevada makes a 3, and then they do get the look for MJ Collins to try to tie it, but it wasn't too little too late. It just didn't make the shot. They have one more opportunity, and MJ Collins kind of fumbles the ball, and that's all she wrote, and that's game.